So today what I have planned is I'll give you, like 1 minute or like 10 to 15 seconds to follow me up while typing in your IDE, so that maybe at least today we can have some better hands-on section. What I thought is separate at the end of the day. If you have the hands-on session, it will be like you might forget some topics as well. Okay, so please follow up me today. So okay, we'll go inside what day 3 of Java basics. So till yesterday we have seen what is it, if else loop, if then if else ladder, then switch. Then one more thing we have is for loop. Okay, so for loop comes into play like you write a condition once, and until like how many ever the variables you have, how many ever the data count you have, it will iterate and it will give you the values. Okay, to what it means to say iterate, it is like continuous running. That is what we call as iterate. So syntax of for loop is like you mention for, and within the parenthesis you will have three values to give. Okay, this is the traditional way of defining for loop. Okay, this is the how to say, first you learn this syntax, and we have many other form of defining for as well. We will learn that later. Okay, so it has three part: initialization, test expression, and update. Okay, so what happens in initialization? So initialization is nothing but you will give some value. You will declare a variable, for example. Say let int I is equal to 1 or I is equal to 0 or whatever the number you need. So next there will be an expression. So test expression. So what do you mean by test expression? You will check some boolean. You will check some condition, like the initialized value. Like if I'm giving I as initialized value, I'll check whether it is less than 10, or whether it is even number or something, some condition. Okay, that piece of code will go inside test expression and then update. So since I have to run it as a loop, I have to update the value that is going to pass next. So next part will be update. Okay, so that is what I have explained, right? Initialization. So yes, initialization will be done only once. Like once you initialize a value as 1 or 0, whatever, it is once, it will not change. The value will get updated, but initialization is done once. Okay, so the test expression, if the test expression is executed and evaluated value is true, only if the condition is satisfied, then the code inside the loop, here you can see, right, the commented line. So whatever you give inside, it will execute only if this test expression value is written as true. If in case it is false, it will the for loop will stop. Okay, sorry, what it means is it will not execute. Okay, so once the test expression is true and the value is updated, again this this testing the test expression and then updating the value continues until the test expression fails. Okay, so I have given every step by step of the process here. I will show you a code for it. Okay, so I request you all to create a new project. Okay, I'll see. I'll wait for the chat for 5-10 seconds. If you have any problem in creating the project, like if you forgot the process, please text me. I'll just show you the process once again in my screen. Okay, it seems that you can't text. Okay, okay, fine. Give me a moment. Okay. If in case who have like you have forgotten the flow to create a project, not an issue. I'll show you here. Give file, new project, select Java project. Okay. Then here you can give any name. If you type any name, you'll get finish. If you type it, your project will appear here. So later you will have this only JRE system library and SRC. Okay. Only these two folders will be available if you have created the new project. So we will create one class. So why we need a class? Only if we have a class file, we will enter only then we can type our code inside it. Okay. To do that, click your project name. Okay. So click your project name, new. You'll find this class. Okay. You click on your class. Okay. So in this, you can give any name, and if you give finish, your class file will come. Okay. So usually your class file will be, empty. You will have only this set of code. If you have created a class file, the name of your class file will come here. Okay. So next. Okay. So this public static void main, as I have already told you, this is where the beginning point. It is where when you execute a Java program, the the program will start executing from the main file. Okay. So that is why we are adding this main. So whatever the code you need to execute, it has to go inside this block, main block. Okay. So first, so I think we have revised this. Okay. So coming back to the point. So let me, you can see the block, right? So this is the for loop. So what I have mentioned you, the initialization part is this. Okay. Int I is equal to 1. Okay. So this is like, okay, I'll maybe after explaining the loop, I'll explain you more. So this is the initialization part. So initializing the value I to 1. So next come the, what is it? The text expression, sorry, test expression. So we are testing the expression as if I value is less than 10 or not. Okay. So now the I value is obviously 10. Okay. So this condition is true. So what will happen? This line will execute. Okay. So once this line gets execute, this line gets executes, this update statement will work. Okay. So we have seen, right, in unary operators plus plus. Do you remember? So this value, I value will get incremented by 1. Okay. So this is the structure of basic structure of for loop. So first part is the initialization part, then comes the test expression, then comes the update part. So once this second part, this test expression is true, then this print statement will work. Okay, so we'll see here. So see your output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 10. Okay, so what happens is, so first your value is initialized as 1, then it checks the condition is true, and it goes, the value is, the value passed here is 1, and it gets incremented. So next time the value is 2. So obviously in this on the second loop, 2 will be lesser than 10, and we get to print line 2. I mean line plus the I value, updated I value. So this goes till it reaches 10. So once I value is 10, it will check if it is I is less than or equal to 10. Obviously yes, it is equal. I and 10 is equal, so it is true, and this statement will get executed. Plus at the same time this increment will also happen. Okay, so I value will get incremented to 11. So once it gets incremented to 11, what will happen is it will go and again test this expression. So obviously the expression will fail, so this loop will get ended. You understand? Okay, this is the basic syntax. Okay, so I'll explain you one with array. I have not I have not taught you what is array. Just get, just get to know the word now. Maybe I'll teach you. Today we'll be having the array class. Okay, so the data type, this two square brackets, this represents array in Java. So what type of value is going to go inside array? No, the data type. So it is character array, and the name, the identifier for this array is vowels. Okay, like how we given a variable, right? Yesterday we have learned, right? Variable naming. So the name of this array is vowels, and I have given English vowels inside my array. So if I have to give values, it should be the curly braces. Since it is character, since it is letters, you have to give inside single quotes. If in case it is an integer array, you have to give a number value, and the number value don't need to give inside the single quotes. Okay, this will gradually learn in the upcoming programs, or maybe in the advanced as well. Okay, just know the reason for single quote is, since it is character, you have to give it inside single quotes only, then Java will take. Okay, so and each and every element will be separated by comma. So once you see this kind of value, you'll know it is an array, obviously, with this square bracket. Okay, so next, so we can iterate this array. Okay, instead of the value we deliberately declare this as 10, we can just pass this, and we can print whatever we need. Okay, I mean, like whatever the elements inside that array. Okay, why I have given this is, like, I don't want to explain the topic array here. I want to explain this for each loop. That is my intention here. Okay, just I want to compare, like, this is the the initialization part, and this is the test expression part, and this is the update part. But we can replace this same with this simple set of code. So I just want to compare and show you. That's why I have taken, even array is going to come up in the upcoming upcoming slides. I have brought it a little front. Okay, I'll execute this. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I'm executing only this code. So what happens is, so vowels dot length nothing but like it's very the literal meaning, the length of this array. So obviously it is 1 2 3 4 5. So what we get here is the value will be 5. Okay. So since we are starting the value from 0, so it will be 0 1 2 3 4. That makes the count 5, right? 0 to 4, the counting will be 5. So what happens to access the value inside the array, we call it as index. So in this index, the I value will pass and those 5 values are printed one by one. Okay. So the same set of code I can rewrite with a for loop like this. Okay. This is called for each loop. For each in the sense you have some array. Okay. Like what I have mentioned about, the vowels. And I know for each and every element inside this array need to be iterated inside a loop. Like I want to check, each and every element present inside that array. So in that case, I don't want to give that, long statements. I check the, I don't want to initialize. I don't want to check any condition. I don't want to increment and all. I don't want. Okay. I don't want to check anything. I just want to iterate the things and I want to print it. Okay. In that case, what you have to do is the initialization will be very small like this. Okay. Char item and this colon symbol and vowels. What it internally does is the first excuse me, the vowel, the first item in the vowel will get assigned to this item. Okay. So in this case, this A, this is the first item, right? It will get assigned to this item. It will come inside and it will get printed. Okay. So next what will happen? The first loop is done. Then it will go again. So since we have 4 more items in the array, so the next item E will get assigned inside this item and this item will get printed again. Okay. So you will get the same result in this type of for each loop also. Okay. I hope you have understand. And one more thing we have, it is like infinite array. Okay. What is infinite array? Sometimes what happen is instead of instead of this increment plus plus, I'm giving minus. Okay. Minus. Think what will happen. So initially the one I value will be 1 and we'll check the condition. Yes, it is true. Okay, 1 is less than or equal to 10. It is true. So the inside the line will print it and it the minus will be applied. So the value will go down to 0. And what will happen? The 0 will get checked with if it is less than or equal to 10. Okay. So in that case also, the 0 will be, yes, the condition will be true and the value will get printed. And again, it will get it will get decremented. So what happened is infinite. There is no end for this loop. You understand? It will get minus, the value will get reduced by 1 and this loop doesn't stop. So this kind of thing as a programmer we have to keep in mind, and we should not write a loop like this. Okay, we need to avoid this. Okay, so that is called infinite loop. Okay, it will create only error or some it will create only problem to your program. So next comes, yeah. Here we have our array, what I have shown you right just now in the program. Okay, maybe you can understand it really well now. Okay, array is nothing but the collection of similar set of data. So what it means, so if you are storing the character as data type, then you can only store the characters in an array. So if you have declared int as the data type of an array, and you can in that case you can store only integer. Okay, so it is nothing but a container. Okay, you can literally relate it with your your kitchen items or something. In a container you keep only, if it is a tea container, you're going to store only a tea powder, right? You will not mix some tea powder and coffee powder and you store, right? That is the concept. So you will categorize a similar data type inside a container, and that container is array. Okay, so declaring an array is similar to how we learned a variable. So first we will give the data type, and then we have the square bracket. So this square bracket thing is new with array. Okay, so if it is only an variable, we'll be giving data type and then the name of the variable, right? So here we'll be adding a set of open square bracket and close bracket next to the data type, and then your array name. Okay, so this is how you declare an array. So in the earlier case, what we have done, it is character array, and we named the instead of data, we have given the variable as vowels. Okay, and one more thing is we can declare the size of an array. Okay, so for example, like I said earlier, if you are going to know the size, for example, you're same. If you are doing some mark list for your class, and you know how many students are going to come, right? Then you can just give the size. If it is going to be 50 students or 60 students, you can create an array that can hold only 50 or 60 people. Or else, if you are going to take one mark list for a particular student, then the subject is going to be 6 or 7, right? Max. So you can give the size of an array based on the subject list. Okay, and one more thing is, if you declare the size of an array, you cannot change it. Like if you have given the size of an array as 5, uh, you cannot add sixth element into an array. That is what it means. Okay, but you can hold one number less. Like if the size is 5, you can store 1 or 4 or whatever. Okay, but nothing more than 5. Okay, so this is how you give the size. Okay, so the three different ways. Okay, so for example, if I have give in first let in the first line I have declared as double square bracket and data, and in the next line, so data, if I have to accommodate 10 characters, and I can give new double of 10. Okay, the new object is used to create uh, how to say create an instance. Okay, we will learn all these in the upcoming what it exactly means. Okay, so for a literal meaning, you can take as it will create the same it will copy this characteristics of double. Okay, if you give new double of 10, you are going to store these double type of data. If it is character, here it is character type of data. Okay, so here we have int age, and we have given the uh, sizes. Age is equal to new int of 5. Okay, if you have to do it in a single line, you can do like this. It's up to our need. There is no this is right or this is wrong. Okay, So next is array indexing. Okay, this is more about uh, you know um, we have added value inside array here. Not just imagine the example that I have showed in Eclipse, like vowels of A, E, I, O, U. But I need to take, yes, we can use for loop to iterate one by one, but I don't want to iterate the no, I don't want the first four values. I directly want the last value. How I can take? It is very waste, right? If I need only the last value, iterating all those five is waste. So I have that should be some way to take that value, right? So to do that, we have index. Okay. Okay, here we have the image. So for example, consider we have age. Instead of age, you just imagine it is vowels. So what will happen is we have five vowels. Okay. Usually just you don't see the number, this 0 1 2 3 4, you don't see this. Just assume in every box you have first box A, E, I, O, U respectively, 1 2 3 4. Okay. You have to take the value from the first box. Okay. So if you want to take the value from the first box, we have one concept called index. So usually the indexing, the value will start from 0. Okay. So even if the length of the array is 5, the value will start from 0. The first element will get the index as 0, and the second element will get the index as 1, 2, 3, 4. So mostly the index will be the length minus 1. Okay, so if you have the length of the array as 5, the index will be 4, 0 to 4. Okay, the counting will be same. Okay, the 0 to 4 makes 5 count, right? So the count, I hope you understand. Just the since index value starts from 0, you have the ending as 4. So if you need to take the data from the fourth position, that is, consider if it is vowels, I have to take U. In that case, what I have to do is print vowels of the square bracket 4. Okay, we have given data of 0, right? So data of 0 in the sense, okay, let us take this age of 0. Age of 0 in the sense the whatever the value in this position it will get, you will get. So if you are giving age of 4, obviously whatever we have at the last we'll be getting. So okay. So hope you have a class file with you. You can continue in your same class file. Okay, but I'll just show you the codes. If you want, you can create a new file and try executing this. If not an issue. Okay, you can do it. You can continuously start typing in the same file that you have created. There is nothing wrong. Okay, so this is the first part. I have created an array. Okay, and I have directly given the values. I have not waited for a step-by-step thing. Okay, if I try to print this, age, that is what I have done. Age 0, age 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll try running this code. What happened is one by one the value in the 0th position, that is the age of 0, the value is 10, it gets printed 20, 30, 40, 50 respectively. Okay, so here we have created an array with some length. Okay, Can you see? So what will happen? I'll try to assign some value. We learned assignment operator, right, yesterday. So whatever the variable, whatever the object, if you give a single equals and given value, it get automatically assigned. So one more thing, if you can take a value, uh, age age of 0, then it gives the value. In the same way, you can change the value of age of 0. Okay, which means like for same new, I have one more array called new age. This has also the capacity of 5. So I want to change the you know the first element value as 15. I want to give the first element value as 15. So I am assigning new age of 0 equal to 15. Okay. Wait, let me not confuse you. So in this, so let us print the new age. Okay. So plus new age of 0. What have I missed? Okay. What it means is like I'm trying to print an int variable with um with the string, how to say, um, print ln is mainly for it is applicable for strings, so I'm trying to do with that. So I'm getting an error. Why don't I? Give me a moment. Okay, so what I have done is, while when we are typing print, if you give your hold your control plus space, you will have so many options available. I think whoever is following me with your Eclipse, you can find. So while doing this, by some way I have selected the print ln with character last time. Okay, that is why we were not able to print the integer value. Okay, you have some options over here. So println with string, println with object, println with integer, you can see, right? So I might have, misselected this println with string. Okay, fine. That's a learning. Okay. So, okay. So can you see we have assigned the value 15 for this new age of 0. So that is why we have got the value as 15 over here. Understood? So not just we can take the value, like not just you can select the value, you can also assign the value by using the index. So I hope you are understood with the the indexing. So what happens if I try to access the index that does not exist? Meaning, uh, okay, we'll take this as an example. First case, we have 5 values, right? I'm trying to access the 6th value. Okay, so I'm trying to change this as 5. Okay, the compilation will be done. There will be no error shown in the Eclipse. Why? Because the syntax we used is right. It is correct. We have given a square bracket and inside we have given some integer value as index. Okay, but at the runtime, while you try to run your program, we will have index out of bound. Okay, can you see? So this means I'm trying to access some item which is out of there is no index that way. It is not available inside the array. I'm trying to access an not existing index. Understood? Okay. So Java itself will give you an runtime exception. Okay, the most of the common exception that you will be facing in your, in as a beginner stage in your career will be like null pointer and array out of bound, and you have few more. Okay, those will be the main errors that you have to handle, and we'll be seeing this exception handling in the upcoming chapters as well. Okay, so yes, this is for array index. And this is one more, for sample I had for each. So we have here a number array and we are trying to iterate this array. Okay, understood? So first in this numbers array, the first item 2 will get um assigned to int, sorry, assigned to the number, and sum is equal to plus is equal to number. Okay, this is like 1 plus number meaning. Okay, I don't want to give you this now. I'll just give number plus 1. Okay, I have written this example as a separate method. Okay, we'll see what is method in the upcoming slides. Okay, so I'm calling this particular method inside our main block. Okay, so whatever the code we need to execute, it should be called inside our main block. So I'm calling this method here. Okay, I don't want all these code at the top to execute. So what happens? So every time the value will get added, okay, the number will come. The first 2 will come. So 2 plus 1, 3 will get assigned here. So some value will be 3. Okay, so next the value minus 9 will come, and from this numbers it will get assigned to this number. The number value will be minus 1. So here minus 1 plus 1, it will become 8. Okay, so it will go 8 that way. If in case the same thing I have already mentioned here, right? The plus was in the first place. So what happened here? Here what will happen is the sum value will be stored, like the 2 will come initially, and maybe for more clear, So you understand? So every time this value gets added and the total summation, the total summation will be assigned to sum at the last. So the value what we get is 36. Okay. And we have calculated average over here. So average what we have given. So double the sum. Just I'm changing the data type. So initially I have given us int. I'm just changing the data type into double. Okay, to be on the safer side. If in case I may get the value in floater, right? If you want, you can change in if float also, but normally in the program we will use double. Okay, the reason is sorry, in the corporate side you will use double. The reason is you will be having uh, not anyway the small value. Okay, maybe case to case it differs. So to be on the safer side, we'll choose double so that you get some accurate result. Okay, so divided by the array length. So we can take the length of the array. So length of the array in the sense what we get here 1, 2, 9, 10. Okay, we have 10 numbers. So we'll get 10 as the value. So this is the array name dot length. So what this dot length means, usually we have certain characteristics of for array, not just for array, for any any kind of object we have some characteristics. So all those characteristics or all those members you can get by adding a dot in front of it. For example, if you are opening your Eclipse, please have some you can double click on this gray area. If you have declared array, please uh, try writing this code int, or wherever you have declared array, you can also keep this dot. If you double click, you will have find this dot icon over here. Okay, then you can give below runners, you have one more option called as debuggers. Okay, you click on it. Then you can press F8 key. Okay, what will happen is your program will stop at the point of your next the point you have added. So can you see the variables here? We have declared a two variable, number and sum, and we have those things available here. Understood? Can you see? So in some cases, if we don't deliberately know the values, we can, this is one mode of execution. If you have gotten any error in between your program and you don't know which line is causing an issue, you can, put this dot in your IDE, and it helps you execute your program one by one, line by line. Okay. So you will understand like, okay, this line is causing error and I'll be, correcting my errors, whatever. Okay, so to come out of this, you give one more F8. Okay, once the program is over, here you might have seen one pause icon, this resume icon in disable, which means your program is completed, and we'll be getting the result over here. Okay, and we can also copy copy arrays. Same like how we do in variables, we can do in array as well. So simply I have declared one array with values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm trying to copy. What I have to do, you cannot simply copy into in any other variable, normal, integer or double. if you want to copy one array to other array, in that case, the you know the variable that you are going to copy should also be an array. Understood? Am I clear? And it should be of the same type. Let us try changing character array, and I'm trying to store this integer array into character array. And what is the error that it shows? It shows type mismatch. Okay, that I cannot convert the integer array into character array. Okay, so you might be some of you could have might have an thought like, if in case I want to I'm getting some cases that yes, I want to insert this integer type into some string array, or some string into an integer array. Is there a possibility or not? Yes, we have a possibility called typecasting, and we will see those things in upcoming sessions. Okay, so for now I just want you to know what is array and how to access its index, and mostly like we will be needing the length of the array. Okay, so this is what we often use. So length, uh, then yes, type of array. I mean, you know, what data type it can store. And if you try to access some index that is not available, then what kind of error you will face. Okay, those are the things we have seen now. So with that note, I will go to the next slide. Okay. So for now, until now we have seen all the basic, all the variables and whatever we need to write a Java program. So here comes the basics for OOP. I'll not tell what I'm going to teach now is the completely OOPS concept, but you have to know some terminologies, and what is what, to understand the OOPS concept very more detailedly. Okay, for now I'm going to show you the things we have already seen. Okay, I'm not going to show you anything new now. In every example we have seen all these things. Okay, I'm just going to tell you in what way it is related. Okay, so first we have Java classes and objects. Okay, so do you people think we have used Java class and object so far? If your answer is no, then please I'll explain you. If it is yes, the people who have thought yes is your answer is right. So as we know, that Java is an object-oriented programming language. The concept, it is based on the concept of objects. Yes, this is what we discussed on the first class. So overall, the entire Java programming is constructed with the help of objects. If no object, we will not get this Java structure itself. So main blocks will be objects. Okay, so for brushing up the topic, I'm telling you again, every object have a state and a behavior. Okay, state and the behavior, to put in a very technical way, I'll tell you what state means. It is a field, and behavior as method. Okay, I have taken a very simple example, like let us take a lamp, as an object, and it has a state of on or off. Okay, it will either be on two state. So behavior is turning on the light, turning off the light. Okay, so behavior is kind of like a verb, an action thing. You can have that, that relation. If I want to give you an more of functional example, in the sense, okay, for let us take the same your mark list as example. We'll take some subject. Okay, let us say Max. So Max is an object, so state will be your marks. Okay, your marks will be like, maybe we'll have this as a percentage, so 70%, 80%, and the behavior is, it is this distinction, I mean, like whether you come under like a grade, A grade or B grade, or you have to rewrite it, you know, or calculate the grade or calculate the percentage. You can have, you can have different, you know, whatever the behavior you want to do with that, whatever the action you perform with that input, you can add it as a behavior. Understood? So next comes the Java class. So before you create an object, you need a class, right? That is what we have done in our, you know, in the hands-on. We create a project, then what we do, we create a class file, and only inside the class file we are creating whatever, like whether we need a variable or we need a object or whatever we are doing, every all those, you know, I won't call it as a nonsense. Whatever we need to perform, we are doing it inside a class. Okay, the same way, if we need to create some object, we need a class. Okay, what do you mean a class? What do you mean by class? So it is a major category. Okay, let us say students. Okay, student is a class, and every one of you, you know, every one of you in the class is an object. Okay, so this is how we have the structure of the class will be, right? Once you create a new class, you will have the class name, and you have only, we will not have these anything like a variable or method. We don't have anything. We'll have this empty parenthesis at near the name and below. Okay, so in between the way, the where we have mentioned variables or methods, there goes our code. Okay, so if you want to mention your variable, or if you want to mention any method, all those things will go inside this class name block. Okay, for example, you can see, right, I have written, you know, we have a class called lamp. So here we have one variable, okay, with the Boolean variable. So do you remember the data type Boolean? So what will be the values possible for a Boolean? So it will be true or false. Okay. Okay. So we have one variable and we have two methods in it. Okay. So what is a method? So we'll see that later. Just think like you have a variable and a method. For example, for so far we have used a main method. Okay, we have given one line, right? Public static void main. I have told you it is the starting point of any program, right? That is one method. That is an predefined method that is given by Java itself. Okay, that is one kind of, just I'm giving you example. Okay, so inside a class, there goes variables, methods, or object you create, whatever. Fine. So next comes Java object. So what is an object? So object is an instance of a class. So what does that mean? Okay, I have given you an example like, okay, animal, then class, you know, okay, cat, dog. Uh, this is for just for your understanding, but I'll tell you and one more example, a better example. Let us say you write a class student, okay, and you are giving some variable as a name, age, you know, what group he or she belong to, date of birth. These four, you know, variable you have created inside a class. Okay, so after this, you are trying to create an object for this class. Okay, so if you are creating object for this class in the sense, you can, you are taking literally a minified copy of this object, a copy of this class. Okay, so in that case, if you have 60 students, or even if your college has like n number of 1000 or 2000 students, you can use the same class to get the detail of those, all those, you know, 2000 or 20,000 students, how many ever. Okay, So here, okay, how to create an object. So first we have to give the class name. For example, we have a class lamp here. So the we in the class name place we have to replace it with a lamp and object. Object name will be whatever like you want to give for the object. And please, as I have told you, you can give some meaningful name. Okay, so you can give any name. So I have just given L1 for for better understanding. So then you need to give new. So this is a keyword and it will create what kind of it is. The new keyword is helpful to create a new object. Okay, so what it will do is it will clone this class name class, right? This is the sorry, lamp is the class name. So it will clone whatever inside this class. So what this lamp class contain, it had one boolean, right? One boolean variable we had. You remember we have a boolean over here, so we can access this variable. Okay, this variable, and also we can access this turn on turn off methods which are present inside this class. Okay, if you want to access a class, if you want to access something which is inside a class, then you will absolutely need to create an object. Okay, without an object you cannot access the members inside the class. So what okay, we have created an object, then how we can access it? You need to call it somewhere, right? So what you have to do is with your object name L1, so you give your L1 dot. So this dot operator helps you to access the members of your class. So dot, and then whatever you need. If you want to bring your variable, that is that we have an is on variable, right? You can give the values L1 dot is on. Then you will get, you can able to access the value of that is on. If in case you want to access this turn on method, then you have to give turn on. So when you are accessing a method, you have to give it along with this parenthesis, the brackets. Okay, so this brackets indicate it is an method. So every method name will have a bracket at the end. Okay, I'll show you an example for this. So I'll explain you first. So this is a class. Okay, this is a lamp class. So here this is the main method we have written. Okay, this is the part which is helpful for us to run the program. So leave this part now. We'll see what are the members of this class. So as we have seen in the snippet, we have an variable, boolean variable, and we have two method. Okay, turn on, like maybe you can consider it as an method to turn on the light, turn off the light. Okay, so what I'm doing is here is on equal to true. Okay, so here in this class we have an variable, so I'm assigning this variable value as true here. Okay, inside this turn on, and I'm trying to print this value. Okay, I'm trying to print this value here, and I have a turn off. Here in turn off, I'm again assigning false to this boolean, and I'm trying to print the same. Okay, these are the three members of this class. Okay, so next, here inside the main method, public static void main. Okay, this is a method. So inside this, I'm trying to create object. You can create any number of object. Okay, it is not you don't have limitation. The only thing is When you create an object, you need to close. Actually, I have not closed in this program actually, but it is good practice to close it. Okay. So this is lamp. So after lamp, what comes? It is a user defined, like whatever the object name you want to give, you can give, and then new, then the class name, and then the bracket. Okay. The same way you're creating the what is it, second object. Okay. And you are calling the methods now. Okay. So what it is with L1, with L1 object, you're calling this, you're accessing this turn on method, and with object L2, you're calling this turn off method. Okay. So what happens, you see, we are running this program. So when I'm trying to call the method here, the value gets here value gets assigned as true. So here in the is on value, we are getting true. Okay, with accessing with the L1 object, and with respect to L2, we are getting it as false. Understood? Okay. So this is how it works between class and object. So we will have discussion with methods and other OOPS concept. Maybe we'll be starting with the OOPS maybe tomorrow.